गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी माधव गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी माधव गोपी जन जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरि गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Louder. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Re Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jagannatha Subhadra Jaya Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Ananta Dev Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Ananta Dev Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Ananta Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Bol, Haribol, Haribol. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan ki. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Gaur Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are doing this ongoing series on Navvida Bhakti, the 9 processes of devotional service, which, very famous celebrated verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter, 23-24. Prahlad Maharaj is telling Hiranyakashipu what is the essence of all teachings which he has learned. So we'll recite that shloka 2-3 times. And then we'll discuss today, out of 9 things. Last Sunday, we saw His Grace Aniruddha Seva Prabhu so wonderfully elaborated on the aspect of Pada Sevanam. Today, we'll be discussing on Archanam. Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Yadha Tanmannedhi Tamuttamam Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Yadha Tanmannedhi Tamuttamam Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shranam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Yadha Tanmannedhi Tamuttamam. Anybody would like to recite, Prabhuji's? Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Yadha Tanmannedhi Tamuttamam. One more, anybody? Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Yadha Tanmannedhi Tamuttamam. Mataji's? Anybody? Okay. We read the translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming His servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto Him. In other words, serving Him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So I seek the prayers and blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas assembled here, especially His Grace Narahari Chaitanya Prabhu is also sitting here. I seek their prayers and blessings that whatever I speak today is for my own purification. In fact, last Sunday when His Grace Aniruddha Seva Prabhu was speaking on Pada Sevanam, he was able to connect to his own personal life as well. So he was speaking, realized words. So please forgive me. I have no such qualification. I'll not be able to connect Archanam, in that perspective. But whatever we have heard from our seniors, whatever Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport, we'll try to throw some light on that. And we'll try to see how this purport is so full of instructions which Prabhupada is mentioning. So I pray that whatever I speak is loyal to the parampara. I don't add or subtract anything from my own side. And seeking prayers and blessings from everyone. So, as we know, this is one of the most beautiful sections of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, where Prahlad Maharaj is being glorified wonderfully. And we know how this wonderful dealing between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyakashipu stands for authoritative style of parenting. Matlab, he is wanting to force his son to do whatever he wants. That is called as authoritative style of parenting, which is actually not very good. So in Shastras, we have different styles of parenting, very relevant for Grihastashram. So one style is, ignorant, don't know only where is the son, where is my son, where is my daughter, no idea. That is neglectful parenting. One is permissive parenting, Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan is an example of permissive parenting. Whatever he is doing is right. Whatever he's doing, that's also wrong. Yeah, Hiranyakashipu is an example of authoritative parenting. He wants, mera beta engineer hi banna chahiye. In this case, Hiranyakashipu wanted demon banna chahiye, whatever. And then there is authoritarian. That means, some things are allowed, some things are not allowed. Yes means yes, no means no, that kind of thing. But anyway, so here we see how wonderfully Prahlad Maharaj, he's setting such a nice example that even though his father is not aligned with what he wants, he never disrespected his father. Many times, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we many times misunderstand certain things, certain bold statements of Bhagavatam, and we wrongly quote them or we wrongly apply them in our life. Therefore, I always like this point that knowledge is a double-edged sword. Unless we understand from a right guidance, we may be on a different path altogether, right? Because everything in the Shastras, even Srimad Bhagavatam, can be misunderstood and misapplied. Gopis left their household and left their husbands and left everything at the dead of the night, and they went to meet Krishna. Right? None of us can do that right now. So there are certain social customs and everything in place. So therefore, everything has to be understood under proper guidance and in time, place, and circumstances. So we note from Prahlad Maharaj here that how he disobeyed his father, but he never disrespected his father. So whenever in the worst case, and normally that never happens, it's not that fathers are typically so anti. This is an extreme example to make a point. But normally in our day-to-day life, such extreme examples don't come. Things can be pretty much aligned. But even in the worst case, when they can't be aligned, the Shastras enjoin that we should respectfully disobey. If at all. Like my father, if he's asking me to smoke a cigarette, what should I do? Should I obey or should I disobey? Disobey. And Shastras have many examples of 4 cases are there. Actually, Prabhupada always wanted devotees to, study his books analytically. There are many case studies in Srimad Bhagavatam. Like, if you see 4 cases are possible here. Son obeying father, and that is right. Son disobeying father, and that is right. Son obeying father, and that is wrong. And son disobeying father, and that is wrong. Are you getting what I'm saying? There are 4 possible cases. But right now, that's not the topic. I don't want to digress that much there. But that's another wonderful, nice thing which we can do sometimes. Right? So here we see, Prahlad Maharaj is now telling the secret, the essence of all teachings, as Prabhupada is writing here. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Right? That's the essence Prahlad Maharaj is telling. So Prabhupada in 4th canto, 28th chapter, 38th verse, he mentions that the first 7 things, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, that comes under Vaidhi Bhakti, that comes under Vaidhi Marg. And the last 2, Sakhyam and Atmanivedanam, that comes under Raganuga Bhakti. And Prabhupada mentions this in 4th canto, 28th chapter, 38th shloka, 4, 28, 30, Prabhupada mentions. So that means what we are going to discuss today is very much something which is which comes under our sadhana. Sometimes, we think that we are devotees. Actually, we are not devotees. Who are we? We are aspiring to be devotees, as Prabhuji said. And, a better Sanskrit term is we are sadhakas. The moment we remind ourselves again and again that we are sadhakas, several things will happen. First of all, we will not become complacent. I'm to devotee. Hey, Prabhuji, non-devotee log ko bolo thoda theek se line mein khada. What do you mean non-devotee log, devotee log? What are we thinking ourselves, right? So the moment we think we are sadhakas, immediately we will become humble. Immediately we will become humble. Number 1. Number 2, immediately we will feel responsibility on our shoulders. This is a very, very important point to be understood. Many are just running behind happiness, that we are saying that, okay, we want to make children happy. No. We want to make children responsible. What is a successful parenting? I'm sorry, I'm again and again coming back to parenting. Probably that's a topic which is immediately relevant to me, but we'll come to sadhana as well. So that, we want to make people happy, and we want to make whole world happy, sarve sukhina bhavantu. But more important than making people happy is to make people responsible. So the moment we think that we are sadhakas, several things happen. 1, we become humble. We are not in some cloud 9, right? And that happens also, like in some of the past lectures, somebody was telling that, people sometimes think that the moment they get initiated, now, manzil pahunch gaye, the destination is reached. No. Initiation. I mean, if you open dictionary, initiation means what? Beginning. That is the beginning. So we should never ever in our spiritual life, we should feel that now we are past some things. Now we have gone ahead. Now we are over Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we are done with Bhagavad Gita. No. Lifetimes together, we have to be student of Bhagavad Gita, students of Srimad Bhagavatam, students of Srila Prabhupada books. So that is the second thing which happens the moment we think we are sadhakas. And the third thing, as I said, is, it creates a great sense of responsibility. That, oh, now I'm supposed to do something for the pleasure of Guru. Many times, we tend to neglect our sadhana because we think it is something personal, it is my own. And many times, devotees don't come to know only my personal sadhana, especially for grahasthas, because we are, see, all of us are patients, right? We are all admitted to hospital. In this material world, what is this material world? It's a hotel or a hospital. There are 2 worldviews. Some philosophy talks about this world being a hotel. I enjoy kariye, menu card lijiye, okay, how I can enjoy. Today, I think I want to enjoy like this. That's what happens in a hotel. There's a hotel worldview. But this world is actually, the reality Sanatana Dharma teaches us, hospital worldview. That means this world is a hospital. So we all are patients here. Now some are brahmacharis, they have admitted in the general ward. मतलब ठीक है, पूरा open है, पूरा खुला है, Grahasthas, they are admitted in the private ward, and there is a nurse also. So whichever. And then for the Matajis, it can be the other way around, whatever, right? But we are patients, and Grahasthas are having actually a little more dangerous situation in one sense. किसको मालूम क्या कर रहा है? अंदर घर में कितना 16 rounds हो भी रहा है कि नहीं, कब हो रहा है, रो धो के हो रहा है, enthusiastically हो रहा है, right? So therefore, one of the things we are going to see here today is how it is so important for Grahasthas to at least once a week come to temple and make temple their home. Those who are in the renounced order, they have made temple as their home permanently, right? Grahasthas, what are they supposed to do? Monday to Saturday, they are supposed to make their temple as home, their home as temple. Right? Brahmacharis, they have made temple as their home. Grahasthas, what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to make home as temple. But that does not mean, sir, Prabhu ji, हमारा तो home ही temple है. क्या करेंगे मंदिर आके बताइए? I'm trying to follow all the instructions of the Shastras nicely. I have tried to make my home into temple. So what is the need to go to temple? No. Unless once in a week we make temple as our home, 6 days, we'll not be able to make home our temple. Right? Just like sometimes when you ask people to chant, they say, तो जी हमारा तो मन में होता रहता है. You come across some people like that? Anybody? मन में होता रहता है. Typically pious Hindus. That's very nice, respected. We should never disrespect anybody. Right? That's very nice, respected. However, only when somebody chants externally properly the way Prabhupada has taught, only then actually वो मन में सारा time होगा. Otherwise, it's an excuse. Similarly, only when we come to temple at least once a week and make temple our home once a week, only then the remaining 7 days the home will be temple. Only then it is proved. Otherwise, कोई भी कुछ भी बोलता है, इसका क्या, there is no validity. Anybody can justify anything, right? So anyway, coming back. So these first seven principles they come under Vaidhi Mark, Prabhupada says, and the last two, Sakhyam and Atma Nivedanam, they come under Raghunam Mark. Now, Prabhupada says one interesting line, probably towards the end of this purport. Once a sincere endeavor, beginning of the purport. One sincere endeavor to perform these 9 processes of devotional service is technically called bhakti. Right? Now, so, Prabhupada, the way he chooses his words, whatever he writes is so amazing. Like Prabhupada, he never meant bhakti to be some kind of a sentiment. It is said in India, devotion is the most misunderstood emotion. Right? Devotion is the most misunderstood emotion. But Prabhupada, he made sure that we understand bhakti technically. You see, Prabhupada himself is writing. Not that somebody is from IIT, so he's technical. Not like that. Right? Because that is what people are supposed to understand. And that's how we are supposed to. And human beings are capable. We are not discussing some very, very high funda philosophy of some Vedas and Upanishads, and all that. We are anyway discussing Ramayana, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, which are stories. अब उसका भी philosophy हम बोलेंगे नहीं प्रभु जी मेरे को philosophy अच्छा नहीं लगता, story अच्छा लगता. What is this nonsense? Are who is God, who is Krishna, who is Vishnu, why are we chanting, who is Guru, why should we take initiation? ये सब philosophy है और इसको भी हम बोलेंगे प्रभु जी मेरे को philosophy अच्छा नहीं लगता, story अच्छा लगता है. That is nonsense excuse. The moment that we have got human birth, we are supposed to understand this philosophy. It is our responsibility. वो जो बोलते हैं ना कि वो philosophy वो सब, like we say na for Kali Yuga, they can't understand much philosophy. So Krishna has been very merciful through Mahabharata, through Ramayana, through Bhagavatam. He has done some things. So that philosophy is different. वो तो हम पढ़ भी नहीं रहे. That is like क्या वो 6 angas of philosophy, न्याय ये वो Upanishad, Aranyaka ये वो and all that. Upanishad. We anyway have been mercifully by Prabhupada. He told forget all of that. Just focus on my books properly. Of course, we can read other books to enhance our understanding, but we can never bypass or we can never surpass Prabhupada books. So once a sincere endeavor, again sadhaka, sincerity is also needed and endeavor is also needed. So the moment we say sadhaka, action comes on us. It is not on somebody else. Once I was telling one of my relatives, Mandir aaya kariye aap. He was telling, जब भगवान बुलाएंगे तो हम आएंगे. So I told अभी भगवान ऐसा ना हो कि भगवान सीधे बुला ही ले. It should not happen that Lord calls you once finally. It should don't wait for that late. And right now when I am calling you, who do you think is calling? Lord only is calling. Because Lord will not call him. Say Sakshat 400 or whatever Sham Sundar Darshan. He will say please come to temple. He will not say like that. He will come through his instruments. Whatever in some way or the other. But anyway, so once a sincere endeavor, Rupa said, see, one sincere endeavor to perform these 9 processes of devotion service is technically called bhakti. Otherwise, Rupa Goswami says, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatri Vidim Vina Ekantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpateva Kalpate. Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrikim Vidhim Vina. Without paying attention to Shruti, Smriti, Puran and Pancharatrika Vidhi, without paying attention to them, Ekantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpateva Kalpate. That person only creates disturbance in society. We do not want such devotees in ISKCON who become disturbance in society. And that is why it is so important. Training programs, reading, hearing, understanding things properly. It's so important so that things are not misunderstood and wrong example is not set in the society. And especially Grahastas, they have a great responsibility on the shoulders, and also brahmacharis, that the moment we come out, the moment we step out of the temple, the moment we step out of our homes, who are we? We are representing ISKCON. We should not hide our identity. Yeah, sometimes we may have to act according to time, place, and circumstances, right? That is okay. But given a chance, whenever there is no problem, we should be quite, bold about our identity of, following ISKCON and, practicing Sanatan Dharma and putting tilak and all that, whenever there is no problem as such, right? That does not mean we should be very foolish and naive and, do wrong things at wrong times. But the idea is we should not try to hide our identity, because the moment we do that, Maya gets a chance to, pull us down. Maya gets a chance to pull us down. And the more and more we declare to the world that we are devotees, the more Maya will be protected from Maya. We'll be protected from Maya. So let's now come to Archanam specifically. Interestingly, out of all 9 things, if you see this purport of 23-25, it's a long purport. And Prabhupada 1, 2, 3, like that, all 9 he is telling about. I was just doing some statistical calculations and I saw Archanam purport is longest. Counterintuitively, we all expected that Shravanam and Kirtanam will be longest. Is it not? Right? Anybody disagrees with me? We all felt that probably Shravanam and Kirtanam will be longest. Prabhupada may have felt anyway, Shravanam Kirtanam to pura bola hi hai sara time, right? So here Archanam 5 pages purports. So it's so important. And Prabhupada in his own life we see. Lilamrit first few chapters. The very introduction of Prabhupada in the movie. How it comes. In the movie of Lilamrit, how Prabhupada enters, how the whole scene is, his attraction to the deities of Radha Govinda, right? Hours together, a 4-year-old child, hours together, he is taking darshan of the deities. Just imagine the love of Prabhupada for the deities. And Prabhupada, so basically Archanam, as Prabhupada here says, Archanam basically means the process of deity worship. The process of our connection with the deities. So Prabhupada was so attracted to deities from early childhood. And we see so many examples of in Shastra of devotees who have perfected their life because of Archanam. Like there is an example in Ramayana which comes of Shabri. Shabri, it is said that she perfected her life by Archanam. How? Because she offered to Lord Ram. Because that offering also comes under Archanam. Anything to do with Pancharatrika Vidhi, anything to do with the deities, anything to do with the Lord comes under Archanam. So it is said Shabri perfected her life as Archanam. Gajendra, it is said, very specifically in the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam that Gajendra did nice deity worship in his past life as King Indradumna. And because of that wonderful, humble, submissive deity worship which he did, Lord was so pleased that he gave him the remembrance of those prayers which he used to offer during deity worship. And those prayers automatically, by Krishna's inspiration, came in his consciousness, and then he was delivered, Gajendra. Right? Prithu Maharaj, Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami is talking about one example of each of the 9. And there, for Archanam, Rupa Goswami is giving an example of Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj is actually the first ruler of this whole planet. He is considered as the ruling potency of the Lord. He is a Shaktavesh avatar. Shaktavesh avatar means those incarnations who are especially empowered to do a particular thing. Right? So Prithu Maharaj was specially empowered to rule the planet. So first ruler of the planet, Prithu Maharaj. But he perfected his life by the process of Archanam. So now, why is this process of Archanam so potent? Why this process is so powerful? It is important to technically understand this. Why this is so powerful? So the first reason is that because deity is non-different from Krishna. Once Prabhupada, one of his disciples, Prabhupada was very much about training and education. One of the disciples was giving class, and Prabhupada, just to test him, he asked his disciple, where exactly in the deity Krishna resides? Prabhupada asked. He just wanted to somehow, just check the disciples understand. Disciple also clean bold, he never thought about this. Where exactly in the deity Krishna resides? He thought, and the most logical thing he felt was, probably in the heart. Just like, soul resides in the region of the heart. So he said, Prabhupada, in the heart of the deities. So I said, no, Krishna does not reside in the deity. Deity is Krishna. Krishna is deity. Deity is Krishna. Pratima nahi tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. It's not some material form inside which there is in one space where Krishna is residing. No, 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 no. This is Krishna. Prabhupada wanted to establish that. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva Dharma, very nice book which Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written, Jaiva Dharma. There he very elaborately talks about this deity worship and all. So there Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling that our perception of deity depends on our level of consciousness. The perception of our perception of the deities depends on our level of consciousness. So he tells about three things there. He says that those who are in material consciousness, called as Jadamaya, material consciousness, Jadamaya, they see deity as matter. Those who are in material consciousness or Jadamaya, they see deity as matter. Those who are in semi-material, semi-spiritual consciousness, that's called as Manomaya, and they see deity as an instrument to help them focus on Krishna. Are you getting what I'm saying? They see deity as an instrument or as a medium to help them focus on Krishna. But those who are spiritually advanced, that's called as Chinmaya. So Chinmaya means pure spiritual consciousness. And Chinmaya people, when they see deities, they are seeing Krishna, non-different from Krishna. So these three different levels of consciousness Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about. Now, what is our level? Now, pure devotees, actually they are seeing Krishna everywhere. Forget about deities. They are seeing deity as Krishna, but even otherwise they are seeing Krishna everywhere. Right? What is our scenario? Even in the deity, we are not seeing Krishna. You see the complete contrast, right? Just like we say now, material world is the complete opposite of the spiritual world, right? Similarly, we can see our conditioned soul's consciousness and pure devotee's consciousness completely contrast. A conditioned soul is not able to see Krishna in the deity also, and a pure devotee is able to see Krishna other places also. Just like chanting. When we are beginners, when we are sadhakas, even during chanting we sleep. But advanced devotees even during sleeping they chant. Ulta ho gaya. Jaise Arjun, Bhim once went near Arjun. Arjun was sleeping. From every roam, from every pore of Arjuna's body, Krishna, Krishna is aura. Even while sleeping, they are chanting. That's a complete contrast. So that's the first thing. That how Archanam is so potent. What was the first thing I said? Why it is so potent? Because deity is non-different from Krishna. Krishna only. The second reason why Archanam is so potent is because deity is a very simple, accessible way to Krishna. Very simple, accessible way to Krishna. Otherwise, for us, can we see Krishna here and there? We can't. But in deity, at least we can. By some training, by some practice, we can see Krishna. So that is a very easy way for us to access Krishna and to serve Krishna. Had deities not been there, हम क्या करते life में? हम कैसे सर्विस करते? किसको भोग लगाते? What would we have done? So it is said that Krishna comes in 5 forms. Krishna comes in 5 forms. One form is called as Para. Para matlab original form in the spiritual world. Shyam Sundar Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is Para. So that Para form means the original Supreme Personality of Godhead who stays in spiritual world. Then comes Vyuha. Second form of Krishna, second form of the Lord. Vyuha. Vyuha means that, Chaturvyuha expansion, that Aniruddha, Shankarshan, Vasudeva and Pradyumna, right? They are in Vaikuntha planets, right? That is Vyuha form. And they reside in Vaikuntha planets. The third form is called as Vibhav or Avatar. Vibhav or Avatar. Vibhav or Avatar means those forms which Lord takes when he descends in this world to perform some Leela based on time, place and circumstances. Like when he had to protect his devotee Prahlad, how did he come? Narsingh Bhagwan, right? Similarly, when Bali had to be protected, Bali had to be delivered, and when Indra had to be, Bali had to be conquered over, and Indra had to be favored, and when Bali had to be protected, then Lord came as Vaman Dev. So based on time, place and circumstances, when Lord appears in this world as incarnations, Leela Avatar, that is called as Vibhav or Avatar. That is the third form. The fourth form of the Lord is called as Antaryami. Antaryami, one where does he stay? Where does he reside? In our heart. Antaryami resides in our hearts. And we know from Prabhupada says that he is Shirodakshay Vishnu, right? And the fifth form is Archa Vigraha. Right? These are not Murti. One of the first few things we learn when we come to ISKCON is we understand the difference between Murti and Archa. And idol or deity. ये idol नहीं है, ये deities हैं. Archa Vigraha. So Archa Vigraha, they are in temple, right? So original Lord in spiritual world, Chaturvyuha in Vaikuntha planets, incarnations based on time, place, circumstances, Antaryami in the heart, and Archa in the temple. One Sri Vaishnavacharya gives a nice analogy that how Archa is so sulabh, so accessible. Gives a nice analogy. He says, Para is like water in the ocean. Para form of the Lord is like water in the ocean. Can we go to the ocean? Can we drink that water? Not accessible. So Para is like that. And Vyuha is like what? Vyuha is like water in the cloud. Cloud may be water, hai na? In cloud also water is there. Can we go to the cloud and drink water? We go to cloud and we take one glass and take water. We can't do that. Inaccessible. Third is Vibhava or Avatar. That is based on time, place, and circumstances. So that Acharya is comparing to river water. Okay, some people are near the river, they are able to drink that water. Based on time, place, and circumstances. Accessible to some, based on time, place, and circumstances. Fourth was Antaryami. That he compares to borewell. Or, well. You have to do a lot of endeavor to find that. Water is there in the ground, but you have to do a lot of endeavor. Similarly, yogis, dhyan yogis, ashtang yogis, they do a lot of endeavor to find the Lord in the heart. Right? And the fifth is Archa. How much hard work did you do to find this Archa today? To take darshan of this Archa? How much hard work? Yeah, mind will give some excuse. Prabhuji, we are coming from far, you see. A lot of hard work. What are we talking about? Will we even calling that as hard work is shame? To call that as hard work. Mind will give excuse about anything. So, Archa. So he compares that to tap water. Pyas laga, khole piye. Tap water. Sulabh, easily accessible. So deities are so easily. So it's a wonderful gift of Prabhupada to us. Very, very wonderful gift of Prabhupada to us. That we have got deities. We have got the philosophy of deities. We have got the understanding of the deities. And we have got this wonderful arrangement of deity worship and the whole lifestyle centered around deity. That's the second reason. So Prabhupada in this purport, if you see very carefully, he talks about these 16 paraphernalia called as Shodasha Upchar, right? All these things which comes Dhyanam, Avahanam, Asanam, Padyam, Arghyam, Achman, Snanam, Vastram, Yagyopavitam, Gandham, Archanam, Dhupam, Deepam, Naivedyam, Tambulam, and Nirajanam. Starting all the way from preparing our consciousness, offering our prayers, one by one items are offered, Abhishek, and at the end, Aarti. This whole process which Prabhupada has so wonderfully instituted in ISKCON. In every temple, it is so wonderfully followed. Now we come to next point about sometimes devotees may think, especially when there is so much emphasis on training and education, and we think, Prabhuji, Shravanam Kirtanam is very important. Deity worship is okay. In fact, once, I think some 7-8 years back when we attended this ISKCON leader Sangha in Mayapur, then His Grace Narasingha Kavach Prabhu, who was a deity worship minister. I don't know if he is a deity worship minister right now, but he was the then deity worship minister, and he was giving a seminar on deity worship. In the ILS in Mayapur, ISKCON leader Sangha. So there, I remember very clearly, one of the few things he said in the beginning was that one of the major mistakes ISKCON did initially was that ISKCON put most incapable people for deity worship and for Gurukul. That's a major mistake which ISKCON initially did. Deity worship minister said at the beginning of the seminar. Because probably that time, they did not understand, that how deity worship is so important and so central to everything else which goes on in temple or in homes. And also how children education and making sure that the next generation also remains in ISKCON is also so important. So he said these were the two mistakes which initially were done, right? So anyway, so we should never make the mistake of thinking, we know, right, there is Bhagavad Vidhi and there is Pancharatrika Vidhi. They are both compared to the two tracks of a railway. You have seen railway tracks? All of us have seen railway tracks. Is any one more important than the other? Can one do without the other? No. For train to run properly, for it not to get derailed, both tracks are important. So Bhagavad Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi means what? Shravanam Kirtanam. Reading, hearing, chanting. That is Bhagavad Vidhi. Pancharatrika Vidhi means what? Archanam. So both are very important. And we should never make the mistake of thinking, अरे DT worship secondary है, देखो पहले भागवतम पढ़ना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. You know, some time, place, and circumstances and exceptions are always there. But in general, what is the guidelines? In general, the guidelines is we see what Prabhupada says. Prabhupada is telling. Yeah, so there is Bhagavad Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi. So Archa and Charcha both are important. So Charcha. So who is our Charcha Vigraha? And who is Archa Vigraha? So those who don't know Hindi, Charcha means discussion. And Archa means deities, right? So Bhagavatam is our Charcha Vigraha, represents Bhagavad Vidhi. And deities are our Archa Vigraha, represents Pancharatrika Vidhi. So Prabhupada is writing, Pancharatrika Vidhi is particularly important for householders. So those householders who are thinking that, अरे पहले chanting, reading, hearing important है, वो तो है ही. But that does not mean that you can just ignore deity worship or you can neglect deity worship. Never. Exceptions are always possible. Time, place, and circumstances की वजह से कुछ कर सकते हैं. लेकिन पूरा life ही अगर emergency है, like in emergency we do different things. That's called as apat dharma. In emergency, when you do something, you don't take that as a general example, right? So we should, our whole life should not be emergency. Like for example, if somebody asks, Prabhuji, बिना नहाए chanting कर सकते हैं क्या? Prabhuji, can we chant without taking bath? What is the answer? Yeah, niyamitaha smarane na kalaha. If anybody says anything else, he is contradicting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. कर सकते. क्यों प्रभु? But somebody will ask, why? प्रभु जी सी जल्दी उठना पड़ता है, ये करना पड़ता है, स्कूल जाना है, कॉलेज जाना है, खाना बनाना है, बहुत प्रॉब्लम है. Okay, ठीक है. You can do. I'll be like whole life only if that person makes that as a habit only and never even tries to raise the standard. Then that is like, unnecessarily taking advantage of some leniency which is provided to us, right? Krishna is a bigger cheater of all cheaters. Correct? If we try to cheat Krishna, who gets cheated? We get cheated. If demon tries to kill Krishna, who gets killed? So a demon is trying to attack Krishna. Who is in danger? We are trying to cheat Krishna. Who is in danger? ये सब फिलोसफी है. ऐसा दिमाग में घुस जाना चाहिए, ऐसा दिमाग में घुस जाना चाहिए कि कल को कुछ भी इधर उधर करने से पहले अपने आप एंटीना घंटी बजना चाहिए. अरे क्या करूं? चाहे कोई देख रहा हो चाहे नहीं देख रहा हो. That is Krishna consciousness. It's not that some CCTV cameras. Hey, प्रभु जी देख रहे हैं. What is this nonsense? We are starting में it's fine, but is that, is our Krishna consciousness supposed to be just because some camera is observing, therefore we are practicing? Just because there are some rules in the temple? Or we have to rise to the level of inspiration. There is morality, there is legality, there is obligation, and there is inspiration. There are different levels in separate topic. We'll not get into that. But point is, we have to today or tomorrow we have to rise to the level of inspiration. नहीं कोई नहीं देख रहा पर मेरे को पता है कौन देख रहा है. Therefore, it's so amazing. There's something which personally inspires me 24/7. What is that? Does not mean I'm 24/7 Krishna conscious. What I'm trying to say is this inspires me forever. That you just cannot, if you know something is good and if you know this will please Guru and Krishna, there is no reason not to do it. Or you are cheating yourself. या तो मान लो मैं cheat कर रहा हूं अपने आप को, and you be with that, then you have no complaint saying that, अरे what is happening, Prabhuji? 20 years I'm practicing Krishna consciousness, nothing is happening only. Then you have no right to say like that. Either you do because Krishna is not forcing. ठीक है करो, no problem, take your time. But if you have understood and if you really want to achieve the goal, or you are cheating yourself, or we are getting distracted by hundreds of philosophies and hundreds of schools of thoughts. Mercedes is Mercedes. Don't get down to bicycle just because it is more convenient. Gaurang Prabhu told this to me when I clarified certain aspects with him about the different school of thoughts, even within ISKCON. Ek answer mein he clarified everything. He said, Mercedes is Mercedes. Don't get down to bicycle just for the sake of convenience. So if you have understood Prabhupada books, or if we are trying to understand Prabhupada books, and if we have not come here just for fun, we have really come here out of that the thing of human life. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Yatatam api siddhanam. What is that? Kaschin mam vetti. Whatever. Right? Tattvataha. It's not a joke. This is not just a lifestyle. That is Prabhupada's mercy that he has converted this into a lifestyle so that haste khelte gaate keval anand kandam hamara uddhar ho raha hai. But that does not mean hamara focus keval hasna gana khelna hi ho. Everything casual. There has to be some fire of Krishna consciousness. I don't know how much time each one of us are having remaining, right? Not that only old people are going to die. कोई तो 99 तक जिंदा है एकदम बढ़िया से first class. कोई बेचारा 5 साल का बच्चा. Especially in these last 2 years, we have seen children also. Unfortunate. One devotee was in Bangalore when I was here, my first innings in Bangalore, 10 years back. We were trying to, then he went to US, 5 years daughter, 6 years old daughter, passed away. Coronavirus, it seems, went into brain dead. 2 months they tried, 3 months they tried, became a potato, passed away. So nothing age, there's no, some general thing is there, some general laws of nature are there, but you never know हमारा पीछे background क्या है, what have we deserved, what is in store for us. So let Krishna consciousness not just be a casual thing for us, otherwise we'll become casualty. If Krishna consciousness is a casual thing for us, then we will become casualty. Alertness and awareness prevents accidents. Once I was traveling by train somewhere, तो पोस्टर में लिखा था AAA, AAA बैटरी होता है ना, AAA, like that. क्या लिखा था? अच्छा था. लिखा था awareness and alertness prevents accidents. Immediately मैं तो hey, exactly this is Krishna consciousness. First of all, we have to be aware what is what. We have to get training, education, reading, hearing, everything. Awareness and alertness. Only awareness is not enough. हाँ प्रभु जी सब पता है. रात को उठाओ लेक्चर दे दूंगा. कौन सा टॉपिक प्रभु जी? Alertness, moment to moment alertness. Once I was asking one devotee, that Prabhuji, I'm sorry, how much time do I have, Prabhu? What is the maximum till which I can go? 10 o'clock? Chalega? Okay. So once I was asking him, Prabhuji, in Shastras we have read for, new devotees, neophyte devotees, Krishna consciousness is a great struggle. And when one becomes advanced, it becomes easy. At the same time, we see people like Bharat Maharaj falling down from such advanced stages. How do I understand this? I asked him. He gave such a beautiful answer. I will never forget this. We should consider ourselves fortunate when we have access to such seniors who can clarify things so wonderfully to us that we will never forget till the time we die. They have explained their part is done. What is our part? To hold on to that and to never forget it. To hold on to. That's why we write notes. But if notes are full, heart is empty, then no point. Notebooks after notebooks. The more years you have spent in Krishna consciousness, the more notebooks you have. Now, ever since iPad and tablets have come, notebooks have stopped probably. Right? So अभी तो notebook भी नहीं भर रहा. क्या भर रहा है मालूम नहीं. Digital something. Just like money is some number. कहाँ पे क्या है कुछ मालूम नहीं. It's all numbers. It's all number game. Right? तो अभी तो और भी unfortunate हो गया. At least पहले दिखता था. One notebook number 1, 2. You do that. Everybody does. One number 2. 2000 से मेरे पास है अभी थोड़ा. I mean, it stopped in 2010 or something. Ever since I switched to this tablet thing. Right? But everything is wonderful as long as our heart is also become richer and richer. Like Prabhuji was telling in one of his classes, everything around is growing. Economy is growing, facilities are growing, temple is growing, numbers are growing. But are we growing internally? Is the soul growing? Again, घुस गया अंदर, भूलने का नहीं दोबारा. Sometimes some statements in any class by anyone hits us. It may be apparently a simple point which we may have heard several times, but we should latch on to that point like anything. And for each one of us, it's different. And we should make a collection of such points. And we should remember that more and more. And the best way to remember is to share. Best way to remember is to share. So I asked this Prabhuji, how do I understand this? Struggle भी है, easy भी है, पर fall down भी कभी भी हो सकता है, बोलते हैं, advance में भी fall down हो सकता है, भरत महाराज का fall down हो गया. How do I understand? He said, see, when you are learning to drive a car, when you are beginning, when you are just learning, how is it? He is not looking left, not looking right, full focus here. It's a big pain for that person to drive a car. पीछे से बोला, अरे सुनिए, what? You see? But one who is expert in driving car, ice cream it's fine. It's nice, easy hai. But does it mean that now he cannot pay attention to the road? Let's say one is an expert driver, right? Can he afford to not pay attention to the road? Then there'll be accident. No matter how expert a driver one may be. So expertise से क्या हुआ? What is the advantage of expertise then? चलाना easy हो गया. You understand? Similarly, when we advance in Krishna consciousness, things come in our lifestyle. To protect ourselves from sins become easy. The practice, the waking up early in the morning becomes easy. The chanting of 16 rounds becomes easy. The ability to pay attention to Krishna becomes easy. The ability to see Krishna in the deities becomes easy. But does it mean now one can be not attentive, not alert? Never. When can one afford to be inattentive? When? When can we be inattentive in Krishna consciousness? Never, because Maya works 24/7. And the more advanced you are, what do you think? When you are attentive, that's when she is looking at you. When is she looking at you? Even one moment when you are inattentive, that moment. And Bharat Maharaj ke case mein to that was his strength. Compassion is not a bad thing. After all, he only had compassion on a baby deer. Kisko compassion nahi aayega baby deer pe? And the point here is not that koi compassion nahi, marne do kisi ko. Because Bharat Maharaj fell down, I don't want to fall. Again, knowledge is a double-edged sword. That's not the lesson which is being taught. We have to read the purport properly. Wahan pe bhi ek case study, 8 levels of social service. That is separate, right? But the point here is false compassion or compassion on the bodily platform. That too at the cost of your own self, your own soul. That is the worst thing possible. Worst thing ever. Body ka fayda, soul ka nuksan. Worst combination. Now you can imagine how there are several cases, right? But anyway, why did I go there? So Prabhupada says that for deity worship, the prerequisite is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Because for deity worship, we need a shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. You need a mantra. You need to be able to, you need Brahman initiation, right? So actually, traditionally, so Prabhupada here says that a prerequisite for deity worship is shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Now, traditionally, initiation meant 5 things. Initiation traditionally meant 5 things. Tilak, Vaishnav initiation, I'm saying. Tilak, Kantimala, new name, right? And mantra and sacred thread and instruction to worship the deity. That is what traditionally initiation meant. Initiation meant 5 things. There were 5 components of initiation. What did I say? New name, Tilak, Kantimala. And yeah, that comes under this thing. And then the sacred thread and mantra. And the mantra I'm talking about, deity worship and Gayatri and all that, sacred thread and mantra. Traditionally, this was it. Now, what Prabhupada has done is, Prabhupada has made these 3 into Harinam Diksha, right? So it becomes more and more easily accessible to everybody, whole world, because that's in the spirit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And these 3 now we have made as Brahman Diksha. You understand? Right? So therefore, for deity worship, this is important. The second component is important. And in that spirit, Prabhupada is telling here that it's important to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master before we become qualified to worship deity. Coming back to the point of householder, Prabhupada is telling that Pancharatrika Vidhi is particularly important for householders. Once, in several years back, I was the kind of a chairman of voice, and there was another concept called lotus voice. Lotus means what? Madhuram. So those devotees who are not able to wake up early in the morning, those who have some more study pressure, those who are saying that okay, we'll not chant 16 rounds in the morning, we'll chant only 8 rounds in the morning. So Radheshambharu said, again, the spirit is what? Everybody can come. But we don't want to dilute the core thing. So then he made a separate concept called lotus voice. And I was in charge of that. So then I told Prabhuji, anyway, we have made things simple. Now, do you want deity worship? Let's just have some, simple, let's not do elaborate deity worship every day, just the way we do in voices. Because I was thinking, anyway, morning program bhi thoda deela hai, study pressure bhi hai, chanting bhi 80 round kar rahe hain, so let them focus on bare minimum that only. Why? What is the need of deity worship? That time he told me, no. Later in their life, when they become householders, if they are not trained in deity worship right now, how will they follow Prabhupada's instruction of worshipping deities at home if they are not trained? Right? Again, I remembered. Now I understood why Prabhuji is telling like that. I have never forgotten. So Prabhupada is writing here that deity worship, Pancharatrika Vidhi, is particularly important for householders. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, deity worship is the foundation of religion for general humanity. In Jaiv Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling. And you see what Gaur Mohan Dev was doing in Prabhupada Lilamrit. What is the very first line of Lilamrit? That every chapter begins with one Prabhupada quote, na? What is that quote? That we would be sleeping, Father would be worshipping, and we would wake to the ringing of the bells. Everybody remembers that first statement, the opening of Lilamrit? That is what Prabhupada has grown up seeing. Gaur Mohan Dev, his main life was deity worship, is it not? Archanam. And children, they would wake up from the bed, and what are they hearing? They're not hearing some news, ZTV, Z News, NDTV, whatnot. They're not hearing with the vibration of news. They're waking up with the vibration of conch shell, bell ringing. So last week, Anil Seva Prabhu was talking about cars, different cars. And then he went to Ahankar. And then we all also added Chamatkar, Sakshatkar. I want to add one more car today, Samskar. Deity worship, the process of Archanam, especially for householders, is so critical to provide the right samskar to children. That car is also very important. There are other cars also in Grahastha ashram, sweet car and all that, which we'll sometime discuss when we get into Grahastha ashram. But then samskar is important. Otherwise, baki sab bekar. That car is also there. So, we have to, because if that sound vibration, that is one of the most important factors to make our home into Vrindavan. Like we say, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, my home, it should be like Vrindavan when I come, right? So what will make our home Vrindavan? We were talking about home, temple, home, right? What will make our home as temple? Most important thing. The altar, Krishna, central, not in some TV cabinet or some under the stairs. Not like that. Prominent. Ekdam, and based on time, place, circumstances, some things are there. We should never judge. Sometimes what happens now, when we talk about some standards in lectures, तो प्रभु जी घर में गया था, उधर तो साइड वाले रूम में था, सेंटर में हॉल में नहीं था. Whenever we hear something in classes, we should never use it to judge anybody. Never. Because Vaishnava Kriya Mudra Vigyate na bujhaye. We should never ever, whatever we hear in the classes, we should never think, अच्छा वो प्रभु जी तो ऐसा करते, मतलब अच्छा डिवोटी नहीं है वो. No. Whatever we are hearing for ourselves. No, not even for our wife. Sometimes we hear, "Ay, घर जाके इसको बताऊंगा." This is the problem she does. Anyway, Prabhuji say, I'll sometime make her meet. No, when we are sitting in Bhagavatam class, who is hearing? We. For whom? Only ourselves. Nobody else. Yeah, there are some other training and education classes about other things, so many other seminars. Parenting ka seminar hai, to yeah, hum log apne liye bhi sun rahe hain, bachcho ke liye kya karna hai, wo bhi sun rahe hain, and all that is there, right? Some extent. But primarily, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? So Prabhupada says, why for householders it is important? Now we'll think of quickly 4 reasons why Prabhupada is telling that for householders, deity worship is important. And brahmacharis can apply the same thing because they are also householder. This house, right? So same. Because the temple deity worship gets neglected. If that gets neglected, one by one, everything will start getting neglected. Who is the proprietor? Like the first day in my second inning, I mean, when I recently shifted to Bangalore, the first day when I came to temple, Prabhuji was telling, that Lord is the owner of this temple. He was telling we got the papers in his name and things like that. I did not know it's so literally also. But probably Prabhuji can clarify. But it's so much there in his consciousness, right? So all devotees, they are working hard, to try to build a temple for the Lord. Right? So that has to be prominently present in every ISKCON temple. So Prabhupada says some 4 or 5 reasons in this purport why deity worship is so important for Grahasthas. Number 1, Prabhupada says, householders are generally engaged in material activities. How many of us agree? Sometimes हम गृहस्थास देते हैं, ये मेरा material activity is spiritual है प्रभु. My material activity is also spiritual. Let's not play with Maya. Let's not be under some wrong impression. Let's be honest about whatever is it. What is what? All of us who are working hard, earning money outside, we know how much we are engaged in material activities, right? All Grahasthas are smiling. So generally engaged in material activities. Prabhupada is telling, as it is double quotes, householders are generally engaged in material activities. If they do not take to deity worship, then falling down is positively assured. Prabhupada is direct. Just like technically bhakti, this is technically called bhakti and all the Prabhupada is telling. Similarly, he is telling, householders are generally engaged in material activities. If they do not take to deity worship, then falling down is positively assured. You see? Hits. Now what are we supposed to do? Now we just rectify lifestyle, rectify routine, rectify your home, do whatever. That is what is a human life. Take charge of your life. Don't live somebody else's life. We have taken human birth for what? To now take decisions. To use our free will in the right way. That's the purpose of training. That's the purpose of training. To learn to how to use free will properly. That is training. Second reason why deity worship is important. Krishna's desire. Open instruction. 9.34. Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji maam namaskuru. पूरे महाभारत का सेंटर है भगवत गीता. पूरे भगवत गीता का सेंटर है 9th chapter. पूरे 9th chapter का सेंटर है 34th श्लोका. One of the most important instructions it is considered in Bhagavad Gita. Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji maam namaskuru. So it's Krishna's desire. Krishna says, offer worship to me, bow down to me. And Prabhupada in that first statement of Lilamrit, he is writing that we would wake up by hearing the ringing of the bells and we would see our father bowing down to Krishna. Prabhupada at the age of 80, he was bowing down to Krishna. You have seen some of those videos. He is coming from morning walk in the Juhu temple and then 80 years old man, sometimes we feel, just at 40 only we are feeling, arey chodo ho gaya, ek baar ho gaya, like that we feel, chalo full nahi half karte hain. Like that, sometimes those thoughts come, right? Prabhupada is showing by his example. Otherwise, how would we have learned? How would we have learned? Because we would just follow example. So it's so important for householders to set the right example so that the next generation picks up. Whether they pick up or not is, it's not in our hands. But we have to do our part. Because again, this should not be misunderstood, to judge somebody just on the basis of that. Third reason Prabhupada says is hard-earned money. Where is Grahastha's maximum time going? Earning money. आप चाहो या ना चाहो करना ही पड़ेगा, right? Now, if you are really a Grahastha who wants to perfect your life, at the same time you can't run away from earning money. What is the best you can do? What is the next best thing you can do? That whatever money I'm earning, some portion of it must be used directly for Krishna. Correct? Just like when we take out some portion of the food and offer to Krishna, the whole food becomes prasad. Correct? Similarly, when we take out some money and offer to Krishna, everything becomes sanctified. And that hard 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever we are putting every day, at least now that has not become a donkey work. That is the simplest and the easiest way to, not become a karmachari, but become a karma yogi. Otherwise, you will become karmachari. Now, where will that money go? We should have altar in the house. We should spend money for that altar. I mean, of course, now, like I was taking some seminars in Kanpur congregation. There also I go every year 2 times. So there, we were doing a seminar and I brought up some case studies. So one of the main reasons of fight between a devotee husband and a devotee wife is what? Prabhuji, in their home, big marble altar was there. See? Big hall was there, big house was there. Prabhuji, if we have bigger house, now we'll be able to serve more devotees. And you see, if we have bigger car, mandir se brahmachari log ko aana jana rehta hai. It will be so nice. Na? Utility is the principle. We should use everything in service of Krishna. Especially in North India and all. I don't want to kind of judge that way. But then typically, ये सब होता है ऐसा, between 2 families, 2 householders, wonderful devotees, husband-wife devotees, but this becomes cause of fights. Ultimately, all of us, our prarabdha, our destiny and all that, we all have some different financial status. Prabhupada also is telling, based on our status. Not that we should artificially now try to have a big marble altar with big hall, temple hall where you can have nice programs. Utility is the principle does not mean now you spend your entire life working hard, earning money to get these things. It means whatever you already have, use it in service of Krishna. That's one of the most important understanding of utility is the principle. Utility is the principle does not mean, let's say we deal with a lot of youth, right? So youth says, Prabhuji, utility is a principle. I want to kind of, 24 hours work hard to earn money so that I can build a big temple for Krishna. Now, if he works 24 hours for money, what will happen to him? Gone, finished. अभी तो थोड़ा 1 साल बाद फिर भी he'll remember क्या मंत्र था? Hare Krishna. After 5 years, what mantra? Where was it? Gone. So ऐसा भी नहीं करना है, right? But then that they may use this as an excuse to do that, or misunderstood. I'm not saying genuinely कोई गलत करता है, misunderstanding होता है. So therefore, right understanding is important. Utility is the principle does not mean that now I work hard 24 hours to earn money so that I can get those things by which I can serve Krishna. It means whatever you already have, use it to serve Krishna. That's what it means. So Prabhupada says, because Grahastha's hard-earned money, it should go to deities, it should go to altar. नहीं तो हम अपने लिए तो बड़ा interior, false ceiling, ये light, वो light, ये stone cladding, this that, interiors करते हैं पूरा. अब भगवान का altar, भगवान का बेकार सा simple सा नहीं, ऐसा नहीं करना है. Based on our capacity, based on our whatever is our status and all that, based on whatever Krishna has provided money, who is providing money ultimately? Our company is not providing. They are just an instrument, right? किससे मिला? किसी का बाई चांस कोई जॉब लग जाता है, उसमें ज्यादा सैलरी हो जाता है, whatever it may be. Every moment we should be conscious that whatever is happening in our life is mercy. Nothing we have got by our own, on our own. Nothing. So first हक किसका है? First salary you got, where it should go? First food you are about to eat, first morsel, where should it go? हमेशा ध्यान में रहना चाहिए. How can anybody not think of Krishna? Whenever anything happy is going on in life, who you should think of first? Huh? Why we are taking so much time to respond? Krishna. Whenever something wrong is going in our life, who we should think of first? Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. And to the extent we do that, to that extent we will become progressive devotees. This word also Prabhupada uses somewhere. We have to become progressive devotees. Progressive means yesterday I was here, today I am. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, only then we will be able to perfect our life before we breathe our last. हम लोग कोई छोटा मोटा जगह नहीं आए. We have not come to us. We have to understand what have we signed up for. If we really are really serious about it. And then success is guaranteed. Then success is guaranteed. Guaranteed if we have that attitude towards making progress in Krishna consciousness. And giving to temple deity. In Yaksha Prashna, Mahabharat, 124 questions Yaksha is asking to Yudhishthir. I don't remember the exact question, but I very graphically remember that seminar wherein in one of the questions this point comes wherein Yudhishthir Maharaj is telling that who maintains the congregation? The local temple deity. And sometimes a grahastha may think, oh, I'll go to Tirupati Balaji, I'll donate there. There's no need to donate here. Wrong understanding. The local deity is our father, mother. The local deity is the maintainer of the entire congregation. The local deity is the nourishment giver of the congregation. And it's the entire congregation's responsibility to make sure कि कहीं और कमी हो जाए, यहाँ कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए. The congregation has to come forward to do that, because that's our first duty, the local temple. I remember, long back when, I had just graduated 2004 when I had come here. At that time, all devotees were there in Jagannath Mandir. I was very much, in touch with, Radhesham Prabhu, and because for my own protection, he wanted me to preach, so that I could be protected. I used to ask Prabhuji, donation कैसे? Now I'm here. तो पुणे में भी डोनेशन देना, इधर भी डोनेशन कैसे होगा? तो ये शायद दोनों जगह दे सकते हो तो दे दो, एक जगह दे सकते हो तो इधर दो. Because local temple, very important. Right? So we should have all these right understanding, and this we should not think as अरे यार अभी यहाँ के पैसा देना पड़ेगा. No. It is our fortune. It is our fortune that we have. Just like deity is our fortune, so that we can serve. Deity नहीं होते तो कैसे serve करते? Similarly, deities है, temple है, तो now we can donate, because donation is a grahastha's number one dharma. Anywhere in the shastras, two dharma about grahastha. What are they two? Charity and Athithi Seva. Most important. Otherwise, he is just living for himself. Most condemned life. A householder living only for himself is the most condemned life. So, charity and Athithi Seva. Abhi charity karna hai. Whose need is it to give charity? Whose need is it? It's my need to give charity. It's not that person's need. Arey, de do yaar, de do. No. It's our need. So we should have a right attitude to. We should not think, I am maintaining the temple. कौन सा category है? Whatever. जो भी बड़ा category होगा, 1 crore, 2 crore. No, Prabhuji, who am I? I am धर्म रक्षक. तो पूरा धर्म है ना पूरे दुनिया में मेरे ऊपर टिका है. I'm not. Nobody thinks like that. I'm just exaggerating it so that the point is driven home very properly. Because it is said that when right hand is giving, even left hand should not come to know. What to speak of the whole world coming to know, right? Of course, temple will do all these schemes and all that. Some reciprocation is there, which is wonderful on their part, right? So it's always like this. It's always mutual. Any relationship, the perfection of that relationship is always mutual. Husband should be like Ram. Mother-in-law should be like this, or daughter-in-law. Best friend, a friend in need is a friend in क्या होता है वो? A friend in need is a friend in need is a friend indeed, right? Now you imagine if one friend thinks, जब भी मेरे को need होगा मैं उसके पास जाऊंगा. क्यों? देखो, friend in need is a friend in need. तू मेरा अच्छा दोस्त है ना? This will not work out. It's always mutual. A friend in need is a friend in need, yes, but that friend will never ever approach you in need. It is a rule for grahasthas. Before you eat, go out and call everybody. कोई भूखा तो नहीं है. And you feed sannyasis or sadhus before you eat, right? Now if a sadhu takes advantage of this, every day बराबर उसका पता है उसको खुशबू आ रही, खाना बन गया, वो पहुंच जाएगा गेट पे, गृहस्था बेचारा कभी खा ही नहीं पाएगा. So this rule is not to be applied only one-sided, so it's always mutual. Nicely it happens, right? So while a grahastha would want to make sure that I'll not eat before I have fed the brahmacharis or sannyasis, the brahmachari or sannyasi will also make sure that he will never show his face to a grahastha who has not eaten. You see what I'm saying? Genuine people will always reciprocate with each other that way. Not that one person will take advantage of the other person, right? So I think I'll have to quickly wind up now. So, and then another reason Prabhupada says very important to keep pure and clean. Prabhupada said that a special purpose of deity worship is to keep you pure and clean. Prabhupada says, and he says grahastha devotee should be actual example of cleanliness. Prabhupada's words I'm quoting as it is. And another reason of why grahasthas or anybody deity worship is so important is that this creates the mood of servitorship. and it takes away our taste from sense gratification. The more we touch Krishna, either in the temple or at the home, the more we serve, the more we offer. Sometimes in traditional Indian North, because I'm a North Indian, I can talk about it. In traditional Indian North Indian families, वो जो घर की फीमेल होती है ना, उसको वही कुछ थोड़ा पूजा पूजा कर लेती है. The head of the family, the male, he is supposed to lead by example. Just like God Mohan Day is giving an example. That is what is the right culture. And everybody assists. In fact, deity worship is such a thing wherein whole family nicely gets engaged. Children get engaged. In fact, they like to do. कोई मृदंग बजा रहा है, कोई करताल बजा रहा है, कोई deity worship कर रहा है, कोई तुलसी महारानी लेके आ रहा है. You see, it's a nice activity. Right? If we think like this, we'll get ideas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave 4 main instructions to the 6 Goswamis. And one of them was build temples, install deities, and establish wonderful daily standards of deity worship. Among the 4 main prominent instructions, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this instruction to the 6 Goswamis. And home temple and temple home I have talked about. Just one small point I wanted to tell there, that we have to make our home also as temple, which certainly means to have deities and to worship the deity, but it also means to have loving dealings among the family members. पूरा एक इधर से तलवार निकाला, एक इधर से ऐसा, that family life is, pathetic. Then even if we have deities, God Nityam will be raising their hands and telling, "Arey baap re, kidhar aa gaye bhai?" Jagannath Baldev Subhra with their open eyes, kya ho raha hai? Like that they will do. So just putting deities in the house does not mean anything. There has to be loving exchanges and loving dealings between family members. Yeah. And then Prabhupada talks about how such grace has been given. Agni Puran says that if you can't do deity worship, even seeing deity worship is good. That's why at least Sunday to Sunday either temple में आ जाएंगे. Like some of us are not Brahman initiated. हमको तो कभी ये chance मिलने वाला है नहीं deity worship करने का. Agni Puran ने बोला ठीक है आके देखो कम से कम. तो उसके लिए Sunday it's important to come and see deity worship. How it is going on. And then Prabhupada is talking about Manasa Puja or more mercy. Okay, if you can't do this, do it in mind. Because out of 8 kinds of deity, which in Uddhav Gita Krishna is talking about, Uddhav Gita has 1030 verses. It's bigger than Bhagavad Gita. So in Uddhav Gita 11th canto, Krishna is telling Uddhav that deities can be made of 8 materials, and one of them is mind, like earth, stone, and all that. One of them is mind. So that's another grace has been given to us. But now we should not take that as an excuse. Prabhu ji बोला ना mind में कर सकते हैं, तो अभी altar छोड़ो mind में करेंगे. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं. Then the moment we try to cheat Krishna, who gets cheated? We get cheated. And then there is a story of the Brahmana, in Brahma Vaivar Puran, it comes how, he was cooking, and he would do elaborate, gorgeous worship in mind, and then once he cooked sweet rice cooked in ghee, and then wo bola re zyada garam ho gaya offering ke liye. Many times in Grahastha ashram, because life is so fast, because there are so many things we have to take care of, many times we treat deities as machines. We are ourselves also machines only, cut, chanting, deity also we treat as machine. What kind of machine? Bhoga to Prasad transfer machine. Bhoga to Prasad transfer machine. Why? Though I'm saying this, I'm talking about myself only right now. But the point is that, okay, ho jata hoga kabhi kabhi, but our sincerity, we have to always bring it back. Sometimes emergency, timeless circumstances, fine. Because Krishna is not to condemn ourselves. It's like, are we wanting to improve? Okay, agar 5 din aisa ho raha hai, can I make sure that abse 4 din aisa ho, 2 din acha ho? That's Krishna consciousness. Trying, improve. Success in spiritual life is not about being the best. It's about doing our best. Success in spiritual life is not about doing the best. It's about doing our best. I would just like to end with one small story. And I'll just end with this. That, about the gift of Prabhupada. How deities are such wonderful gift of Prabhupada. So once there was one person in the West Coast in America. Early days. West Coast in America. He was a drug dealer. He was running away from police. Police was chasing him, he was running away. On the roads, he saw Harinam procession going on. He thought, acha idea, isme ghus jata hu. He entered the Harinam procession and just followed the Hare Krishna devotees. Police aaya, dekha kahi hai nahi, chala gaya police. Police chala gaya. One temple president saw, ye kya hai? Bola, acha, nice, this Harinam procession ka mahima, so nice, And this person, after, once he came and police left, he wanted to leave. Abhi kidhar leave? Yad gatvara nivartante. Aage ISKCON temple mein abhi nahi jayega. So he wanted to leave, he could not leave, And then he reached temple, because procession reached temple. He also reached temple. Then he told, and police was outside in the temple, because police was waiting, ki agar ye log mein hai wo, to temple zarur aayega. So police was waiting outside, So this devotee, this person, drug dealer, who was running away from police, he approached temple president. President, mujhe bacha lo, I want to join. President socha, अच्छा मुझे बचा लो, मतलब he has come to the shelter of Krishna, no? And he thought it must be Harinam processions Mahima. He said, okay, you join. Police went. Police को कुछ पता नहीं चला. Now this person joined. Little did he know कि कल सुबह 3:30 बजे he was forced to wake up. 3:30 in the morning he was forced to wake up. Cold water bath he was forced to take. Then wearing towel only he came in the temple. He saw everybody wearing dhoti kurta, chanting, singing, dancing. उसको भी bead bag पकड़ा दिया, बोला chant. Well, how can I chant like this? So he took the beads, kept the beads in pocket, bead bag, khali bead bag में हाथ डाल के, it's a 2 hours, somehow he managed. Empty bead bag, somehow he made a show, somehow he managed. Then he thought, okay, now enough, I'll go and take sleep. Nobody allowed him to go. Then Darshanarti, then Guru Puja, then Bhagavatam. And then those days, everybody had to go out for book distribution and Sankirtan 12 hours a day. By the time he came back, he was flat. 6 months like this has happened. By the time this heart also changed. And then we went to temple president. Prabhuji, I'm not what you are thinking. Temple president, yeah, I know, that's our philosophy. You're not the body. Not the body. And no, Prabhuji, actually I'm drug dealer. I am running away from police. I want to surrender. Temple president said, then first surrender to police. Then he went to police, court case हुआ, judge ने पूछा, okay, बताओ तुम्हारा lifestyle क्या है? बोलता है, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, we do 2 hours chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then we do Guru Puja, Darshanarti, Mangalati, everything we do, then we go out. आप बोलते, इसका life jail से ज़्यादा miserable है, इसको इधर ही रहने दो. So this Prabhuji in one of his classes, he was telling his own story that how because of the deities he became devotee. He said, I had no good qualities, but Prabhupada established these deities. I came in front of the deity to escape the police. But I did not know that standing before these deities, we can escape Maya. He said. Srila Prabhupada ki Deshe Deshe Hari Vigraha Seva Arati Ratri Dine Ratha Yatra Adi Mahosava Saba Shikaita Ko na jane Yadi Prabhupada na hui to tabe ki hui to Jivana bahita ki se. Every day we should cry secretly tears of gratitude for Prabhupada. What he has given. I missed one section about offenses here. Long list of offenses. And we should read that sometime. Long list of offenses. Probably we can't follow each and everything there because there are some too many details which probably we may think impractical. But then later there was a point that one who worships Tulsi, one who worships Vishnu, one who chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is relieved of those offenses. So you see, Prabhupada has made such a wonderful program in ISKCON. Tulsi worship is there. Actually, when we read Shastras over years, we see kahin kuch likha rehta hai, and Prabhupada has very carefully put that in the regular routine of ISKCON. Such great fortune. Deshe Deshe Hari Vigraha Seva Arti Ratri Dine. At this point, somewhere Mangal Arti must be going on. Rath Yatra Adi Mahotsava Sava Shikaita Kon Jane. Prabhupada also writes, observing festivals also comes under Archanam. And he says householders should make sure that they should observe these festivals. So thank you very much. I'm really, really sorry we stretched, but Prabhupada wrote 5 pages purports. I also could not have done much here. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And if I have said something out of over enthusiasm, I'm a show bottle devotee. But whenever I speak, I try to apply on myself. Please pray and please, I seek your blessings that whatever I have spoken, if any of you see me anywhere, anytime here and there, please remind me of those things so that I can also become a little better sadhaka. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I don't know if you have time for question answers. If any. Maybe 2 minutes. If any question, any comment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, we have like so many desires. So it is said that Krishna don't interfere the desire. Like if what we do, that is our, gets in desire. But what if sometimes we, out of our daily work or get trapped in Maya and desire is only less to serve Krishna and Krishna is not interfering, then how to, overcome that?
Association.
Only association. And
yeah. So I'll repeat Prabhuji's question. We have heard that desire is very important, desire to serve Krishna. In fact, there is a nice pastime about Prabhupada. One person asked Prabhupada, out of so many instructions of yours, and out of so many things in Krishna consciousness, what is the most important thing to practice Krishna consciousness? And Prabhupada said desire. So Prabhuji's question is, Prabhuji, if desire only is not there to serve Krishna, what to do? That's why we come to temple. That's why we read and hear. And that's where association is important. What is association? Association does not mean just coming with devotees and talking about प्रभु जी उधर लैंड खरीदा क्या रेट चल रहा है आजकल लैंड का? तो आप कौन सा कंपनी में जॉब करते हैं? अच्छा सैलरी होगा ना? This is not what is association of devotees. ये कर सकते हैं हम because these are some inseparable part of गृहस्था life. ये कर सकते हैं, लेकिन खाली आया यही करके गया ना, तो आप अपने आप को चीट कर रहे हैं. Association means transformation of desires. What is association? That's the very definition of association. मैं दिन रात कर्मी के साथ रह सकता हूं, okay? और अगर मेरा desire affect नहीं हो रहा है, तो मैंने उनका एसोसिएशन नहीं लिया है. I have not taken their association. On the other hand, मैं दिन रात डिवोटी के साथ रह सकता हूं और मेरा desire to surrender to Krishna, my desire to serve Krishna is not increasing. I have not taken their association. Are you getting what I'm saying? So association means transformation of desires. If you have taken association of a devotee, means your desire has to transform. And by that, gradually our desire increases. Number one. Number two, by wanting to please a great soul. If we are just wanting, कोई तो great soul होगा हमारे life में, कोई तो role model होगा. So many Guru Maharaj are there. If you see their life, any of them, if you see their life, we'll think, अरे मेरे को ऐसा करना है, मेरे को I want to please this person, and he gives some instruction, and you try to please him. That also makes us advance in Krishna consciousness. It's all about mercy. So more and more desire will come out of mercy, but the trigger for that is association, more association. If Prabhuji, you would like to add something, or Narayana, any of the seniors, if they would like to add anything. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, just wanted to know the difference between like home deities and temple deities. Usually they say when you keep pictures of the Lord, it is less offensive, and that is a little difficult to understand. What the offense varies and things like that. Maybe you can give us some clarification.
Very good point, Mataji. So the standard understanding currently which we follow in ISKCON is this. First of all, when we have deities at home, we should not consider them any less than as temple deities, right? But knowledge is a double-edged sword. That does not mean that we should not come to temple, right? That's why we should follow some simple practical guidelines. What is the simple practical guidelines? Monday to Saturday, home deities. We are trying to make home as temple. Sunday, temple deities. We are trying to make temple as home. Number one. Number two, festivals क्या करने का? Janmashtami. Prabhupada has said householders के लिए important, because how will children experience that culture? Home-centric culture is also important for children. So what to do? We can always do on different days. Just like for sake of preaching anyway, किसी society में आज इस हफ्ता जन्माष्टमी होता है, in some other society, public sometimes get confused. Janmashtami, Prabhuji, first of all, can you decide when is Janmashtami? But we know now what is the main purpose. It's the practicing Krishna. So what we can do is, whenever temple is celebrating, we take part in the temple. Otherwise also we can celebrate at home. Second thing. Third thing is, this aspect of less offenses, yes, it is true. Because in general, in home, we don't install deities. We welcome deities. Right? So utna elaborately, we don't install, because obviously we have some limitations. We do all kinds of things at home. Jhagda bhi ho jata hai, baki cheez bhi ho jati hai. So it's like mercy. It's a causeless mercy of the acharyas that they have allowed this mechanism, that in spite of that, we can do something. Usme bhi Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Gaur Nitai. That's why typically, it's not encouraged that way ki bhai Radha Krishna, unless, we can be really, be particular about it. So mercy there will never be shortage of mercy. Problem will be, are we taking advantage of that mercy properly in a positive way? And are we avoiding taking undue advantage of that mercy? These are the two things we have to remember. Otherwise, mercy ka to koi whatever you will say, acharyas or guru will bless. Like yesterday, in the last class, how Prabhuji was telling about Path Sevanam. How Srila Jayapataka Maharaj so mercifully he allowed. तो उसमें तो कोई लिमिट ही नहीं है, ऊपर से मर्सी का कोई लिमिट ही नहीं है. अरे पिक्चर क्या, पिक्चर छोड़ो, आप बस दीवार में करो आप, but that spirit, that essence of capturing those instructions, but not limiting there, wanting to improve. अच्छा, अभी तक हम ऐसे कर रहे थे, that was a grace which was given to me. That was a special consideration which was, just like newspaper में sometimes you see Surf Excel का sachet आता है, free sachet. Let's say somebody launches a new product. So milk का एक छोटा सा घी का, once in my newspaper, छोटा सा घी का पैकेट ऐसे स्टेपल करके आ गया. Now if somebody thinks, अरे वाह, now my whole stock of ghee should be taken care of by this only. Will that work? That sample was so that we get some taste, so that we at least take the step one. Uske baad, if we depend on that only for whole life, that will not work. Then then Krishna will say, okay, now you take the next step. I helped you take the first step. Now you take the next step. Uske baad I'll help you take the third step. Now you take the first step. It's a nice game between us and Krishna. We should realize that also as we go ahead in our spiritual life. That's a nice game going on between us and Krishna. And he's helping us. The game means he's on our side only. Not that he's an opponent. He's on our side and he's helping us like that. Yes, Prabhuji. I don't know how much we are doing with time. You all can just interrupt as soon as. So both Prabhuji and wife, both husband and wife raised hands at the same time. I hope everything is fine. Yes. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. With your permission, otherwise if he wants to ask.
No, it's
Thank
okay,
you.
Mataji. You ask.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. So many takeaways in your class, especially the Mercedes and bicycle school of thoughts, the AAA accident, prevent accidents, awareness, alertness, then the false compassion for the body, and being very cautious that Maya does not attack at the moment we are inattentive. And lastly, the secretly expressing tears of gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. So apart from all these beautiful takeaways in the class, I just wanted to ask, I've seen you always growing and up the progressive ladder. So what makes you not be casual? You also told in this moment we should not be casual, and we should see that we are going up the progressive ladder. So what would you like us to implement?
Whatever I have spoken, I've just repeated as a tape recorder. I hope and pray that I am able to imbibe these things in my life. And we are all in the same boat, Mataji. I can just share some things which inspire. Like, as I said, we should always maintain some kind of points which really inspire us. We should always consider ourselves servant. One thing which I have learned from seniors is that the safest position to be in is to be a servant. That's the safest position to be in. कोई टेंशन नहीं है. आप किसी भी सीनियर से डील कर सकते हो, किसी भी जूनियर से डील कर सकते हो. Not false, genuinely. And why not? What else is the reality? Sometimes I wonder, how can somebody think himself to be master at all? Right? It's not that I am away from that consciousness. The point is, whenever we come across something like this, we should immediately, that's the purpose of reading, hearing. Reading, hearing is not to increase our knowledge. Reading, hearing is to be able to apply in our day-to-day life. I'm hearing that, we should be humble. So next time when I'm with a devotee, why can't I take a humble stand? I'm hearing I should serve. Next time when I'm with a devotee, or whenever the opportunity for service is coming, that time Krishna is observing. Okay, abhi service diya, isko dekhte, how is he reacting? Right? So if our Shastra Chakshu, so 2-3 things, Mataji. One is by our sincere reading, hearing, by doing everything as a matter of worship, by trying to genuinely please great souls. I have a lot of faith and conviction in this, that the real advancement in Krishna consciousness, and Prabhupada writes this in Bhagavad Gita, in one of the purports, that the secret of success in a spiritual life is the satisfaction of the spiritual master or great souls. Narad Muni example, served the Bhakti Vedantis, Mahat Raj Abhishekam. What is that verse? That Pada Sevanam he was talking about last time, Roji was telling. So I know, because it's not about our endeavor. Bhakti is not a path of our endeavor. Bhakti is a path of grace. Our endeavor is there, that sincerity, all that is there. But ultimately, we all have to ask ourselves, am I trying to satisfy a great soul? Am I trying to satisfy the leaders in the temple? Am I trying to cooperate in pleasing Prabhupada? What would please Prabhupada the most? Am I doing that? And Mataji, it works beyond wonders. Just like we know in the formative days of ISKCON, people who have no idea about Krishna, they are opening temples. People who are not able to understand Prabhupada lectures, now they are telling, but this person, we just thought that we have to surrender to this person. They became pure devotees. Of course, external lila, it manifests all that, but whatever, we can take some lessons, right? So Prabhupada is not ordinary. This is not an ordinary man. He's not an ordinary man. So if we are trying to, and his genuine followers, his sincere followers, they are not ordinary. So if we are sincerely trying to, and if we are not having a seva, just like if we are not having a place to give donation, who should be intention? If we do not have a way, if I do not have a place to give donation, who should be intention? I. If I have no place to serve, who should be intention? It's not our good fortune. बढ़िया, अभी तक किसी ने कुछ बोला नहीं. I am missing out. I am missing out. So it's just about a turn of consciousness, and that remains alive. Prabhupada says, association of devotees keeps the culture of Krishna consciousness alive, in one of the purports. Regularly coming to devotees, not trying to hide anything, not trying to become somebody else, not trying to put up a show for those hours, but trying to take something, go back and implement at home, coming back and again, trying to serve genuinely. Whenever we come, we try to serve. Whenever we come, we try to serve in whichever way. and trying to apply the instructions in our life in a real way. Why will we do that? Otherwise we'll be at loss. We'll be at loss. We are going to die. What will happen? Sometimes we just get reminded of our death. Imagine all of a sudden now we are lying on deathbed. Finished. All whatever was there, abhi ye karna tha, wo karna tha, interior, ghar, car, forget it. Not even 1 second, gone. So we should prepare for that every moment. Not while doing our material duties, but at least while doing our spiritual duties. Like Chanakya Pandit said, when we are doing our spiritual duties, we should think that next moment we will die. And when we are doing our material duties, let's say we are taking care of children, if we are thinking, क्या होगा टेक केयर करके, वो भी मरने वाला है, मैं भी मरने वाला हूं, हाँ? क्या लेके आए थे, क्या लेके जाएंगे? That is a wrong understanding. Knowledge is a double-edged sword. When we are doing material duties, do as if you will never die. But when we are doing spiritual duties, and keep aside a daily time, a weekly time, a monthly time, and yearly time. Everything is boiled down to time in this world. That's the only limited resource, right? 24 hours. Brahma did whatever he did in 24 hours. We have to do whatever we have to do in 24 hours. Sachin Tendulkar became Sachin Tendulkar in. Tata became Tata in. Ambani became Ambani in. All these great spiritual masters became whatever they are in. We also have those very same 24 hours. So daily something, weekly something, monthly something, yearly something. And in that something, I can die any moment. That should be the consciousness. That should be the zeal. Like a hungry person, we should take it. Because we are dependent. We are dependent. We are getting what we don't deserve. So hamare haath mein nahi. Let's say I have to buy a Mercedes. How much money I have in my pocket? 2 crores. Okay? Consider this example. I have 2 crores in my pocket. And I'm going to buy Mercedes. मैं उसको क्या बोलूंगा, दे देना Mercedes, please दे. ऐसा बोलूंगा मैं. Will I say, please give me Mercedes? Will I say like, will I beg for Mercedes? ऐसे कितना बोल? 50 lakhs. I take Mercedes. Done. No, because we get what we are deserving there, right? So no gratitude, no humility, no mercy. But what is our reality? Nothing. Even association is not by our, it's not by our ability that we are getting. Association can be taken away from us anytime. Something can happen in our life. We can be bereft of association. Ramanand Rai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking, what is the greatest fear? Oh, I should not leave association of devotees. Parikshit Maharaj, what do you want? Association of devotees. Prahlad Maharaj, what do you want? Association of devotees. Right? And as Prabhuji was also last lecture telling, I remember, he said for Path Sevanam, what is important? Association of devotees. Remember that point? He was telling, without devotees, what are you serving? Who are you serving? Right? So if we have this kind of consciousness, which I'm just trying to verbally say right now, but if we speak at our home, we do some programs, we call devotees, and Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami tells a very important point. We should never judge devotees because that is offensive. At the same time, for association, we should discriminate. Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami. When you have to decide whose association to take, you have to discriminate. Not all devotees in ISKCON are the same. Everybody is glorious because they have all come to night path. But all of us are in different phases of life. In fact, Indradumna Maharaj in one article, Attack on ISKCON, I think some 10, 20 years back, he wrote an article called Attack on ISKCON. Brilliant article. He says that in ISKCON, you have devotees also, you have demigods also, you have demons also. Now that does not mean now you start checking, oh, let me see, jisse main association le raha hu, wo kaun hai? No. But the point is, this is an important instruction of the Shastras that on one hand, we should never judge devotees because that is Vaishnava Aparadh. On the other hand, when it comes to taking association, we should be careful. It should be our responsibility. Whose association are we taking? Am I in an association which is inspiring me? Or am I in an association which is just making everything casual? Arey Prabhu, छोड़ो. वो जैसा मस्जिद में होता है ना, और नया एक कोट है मस्जिद में, नमाज होता है सुबह सुबह, तो बहुत जो लाउड होता है ना, तो कुछ मुस्लिम लोग आपस में डिस्कस करते हैं, नया मुल्ला आया है, नया मुल्ला जोर से, कुछ तो है, this one saying in Hindi or something, कि जो नया मुल्ला है वो जोर से बोलता है. Similarly, it should never ever happen in our spiritual life that enthusiasm is seen as something, अरे तो नया आया इसलिए ऐसा कर रहा है. So there are some devotees sometimes who have this attitude, ठीक है, ऐसी भी क्या जल्दी है. So you can have safe distance from those devotees. But there are some devotees who have understood what is Krishna consciousness. Or Mataji, and I'm telling myself also, this is not just spiritual life. वो तो रुद्र संप्रदाय में भी है, वो तो श्री संप्रदाय में भी है, सब संप्रदाय में है, बहुत सारे, ऐसा नहीं खाली प्रभुपाद ही एक डिवोटी है, प्योर डिवोटी, और सारे गुरु वृंदा बहुत बाहर भी हैं. फिर भी हम जहां आए हैं ना, ये जो ब्रह्म मध्वा गौड़ीय संप्रदाय है ना, इसका we have to understand. Prabhupada writes in the preface of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is this unique and the highest development of love of God which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. This is not yet another spirituality we are doing. Yeah, we have to be broad-minded. We don't have to disrespect other genuine spiritual practitioners, but we have to imbibe in ourselves. We have to open heart surgery. We have to do, and we have to write in our heart that what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving is not ordinary. We have to understand that. We have to understand what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give. He said, I am the only gardener. I have so many fruits to distribute. And here we are not even convinced about the fruit right now. First we have to become convinced. Every morning, 10 offenses. What do we say after that? Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. खाली बोलते हैं, मॉर्निंग से रात तक प्रभुपाद ने या जो भी ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स में हमने जो भी सीखा है ना, if we pay attention to each and every word of that, we will see it has an effect on our daily life. Daily life, it has an effect. तो हम बोल रहे हैं कृष्ण प्रेम, right? But are we really understanding what is that Krishna प्रेम? रस खान, that Muslim devotee Ras Khan, who became a saint, उनका poems देखिए, बोल रहे अष्टनिधि नवनिधि, you know क्या, I don't remember that stanza, very nice stanza it is. He says, Ras Khan, that Muslim devotee, you know, some 200, 300, 400 years back, whenever, he says, Arey, I don't need palaces of gold. I don't want these ashtasiddhis. I don't want these navnidhis. I just want a glimpse of Krishna. I just want to become stone in Govardhan. I just want to become a bird who is sitting on the bank. तो ये लोग पागल है क्या? दिमाग फिर गया है क्या इन लोग का? I'm just telling, since you asked what I feel like this, कि Jesus Christ पागल है क्या? प्रभुपाद, you know, उनका क्या दिमाग खराब हो गया क्या इन लोगों का, जो आके ये सब कर रहे हैं? और ये ऐसे ऐसे बड़े जो भी ग्रेट डिवोटीज होते हैं, उनका सिमिलर प्रेयर होता है क्या? कोई is this some mafia? Is this some internet scam? Have they contacted each other with WhatsApp? And is this a, you know, nice professional propaganda? Or is it a coincidence? Or is it a reality? That Jesus Christ is saying same thing, Prabhupada is saying same thing, all the pure devotees are saying things. प्रहलाद को देखो वही प्रेयर कर रहे हैं, परीक्षित महाराज को देखो वही, कुछ तो बात है ना इसमें. There is a reality. Problem is, even after many years, we do not know he is God. That's a reality. We have not realized that he is. Of course, realizing is a big thing. Right now, we are not even convinced. At least I tell myself, convinced होते ना, तो इतना जो हम लोग ढीला ढाला काम करते हैं, काले का सफेद और सफेद का काला करते हैं, we know ना what we are. I mean, I am sitting and I am speaking whatever big things, but हम लोग, my wife knows my reality, right? That's the biggest, biggest critique we have, all of us, spouse, right? We know, children know our reality, who we are, right? The point is that, you know, but we have to somehow or the other, अगर पता होता कृष्ण भगवान, I mean, अरे कृष्णा, ये चेयर किसने बनाया, माइक किसने बनाया, टेम्पल, ये प्लानेट को छोड़ो, इंडिया, ये सब प्लानेट, सोलर सिस्टम, दैट इज कृष्णा. हम लोग को समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है who is Krishna. And that's a fact. Even after 20 years or whatever, even after preaching, even after giving so many seminars, Krishna is the Supreme Personality, हम लोग तो बोल रहे हैं खाली, पर इसका एक ग्लिम्स भी अपने को पता नहीं चला. I mean, all seniors are here. I'm talking about myself. एक ग्लिम्स भी नहीं पता चला. पता होता ना तो एक मिनट भी हम लोग इधर उधर नहीं कर रहे होते. और जो ड्यूटी भी करनी होती है वो एकदम हाई क्लास कर रहे होते. हम तो ड्यूटी से भी दूर भागते हैं. स्पिरिचुअल करते क्या हमको यही समझ में नहीं आता. I ask myself like this. अरे स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में भी लेजी, मटन लाइफ में भी लेजी. ड्यूटी आ जाते तो बोलते अरे यार चैंटिंग करना, तो बोलते अरे ड्यूटी करना. कर क्या रहे हम? So we are only cheating ourselves. So this fire is needed, and this is a reality. मत करिए. You know, when I always tell, spirituality is not a career option. जैसे कुछ पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं, प्रभु जी मेरा एक बेटा तो इंजीनियर बन गया, एक बेटा डॉक्टर बन गया, एक को थोड़ा स्पिरिचुअलिटी लाइन में चला गया. कौन सा लाइन में चला गया? As if it's one of the lines, career options. Spirituality is a core subject. It is a mandatory subject. Spirituality means living a life of reality. What is spirituality? और कुछ बड़का चीज नहीं है. There is nothing. प्रभु जी ये तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद and this उपनिषद, that उपनिषद, ये प्रभु जी this सांख्य. Prabhupada, I am a most unqualified person. Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Ishwar Puri, I am a fool, I don't know anything. Ishwar Puri said, just chant Hare Krishna and dance with these devotees. Remember that seminar which we began the first session that day? उसमें पहला श्लोक वही था. Ishwar Puri was telling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you know, just chant and dance and hear and chant in the association of devotees. नाचो गाओ ऐसा एक वर्ष था. Remember? वो first session ही हुआ. But point is that is the fact. Spirituality means a life of reality. And to the extent we are serious about our life, to the extent we have to be serious about this. We have no choice. If we want to enjoy, we have to understand. Once somebody asked Prabhupada, what is the goal of life? Prabhupada said to enjoy. वो खुश हो गया सामने वाला. That reporter, he wanted to hear this. Prabhupada, when he saw, he लगता उल्टा पुल्टा समझ गया. Then Prabhupada said, but you should know how to enjoy. So this is how it is, right? So I mean, and this is my great mercy that we can come across some such devotees in life. We can get that glimpse of what is this parampara. When we read about 6 Goswamis, first transcendental book distribution party, वो जाके पूरा डकैत लोग को पूरा बना दिया. So we were in Pune in voice, we were joking, Prabhuji, we have doctor's voice, we have engineer's voice, they made dacoit voice. डाकू लोग का voice बना दिया उन लोगों ने. Right? We have that story, right? Bhiram was the king, and there was a whole dacoit area. The whole king became such a legacy we have. The first lecture when I came and attended Prabhuji's, that day, he was telling about the legacy. He was telling contemporary examples, of Jayapataka Maharaj, of so many devotees. He was telling about how Germany he was attacked. ये तो live examples हम लोग के सामने. अब ये सब देख के उनको ऐसा रहना तो करो जो करना है करो. What can we do? What are we trying to do? कोई बोलता है प्रभु जी मेरे को goal of life अमीर बनना है, ये करना है वो करना है, वो सब करना है हमको. Whatever is it, we have to work hard. We have to divide our day. 10 hours दिया उसमें पूरा जी जान लगा दो. जो मिल गया उसको accept कर लो. बाकी 24 - 10 14 hours में हम क्या कर रहे हैं? चलो 7-8 घंटा सो रहे हैं, निकालो. उसके बाद क्या कर रहे हैं? मतलब जो है करना है. Doing our best. And praying, helplessly dependent on the Lord, understanding each and every word of Prabhupada, making that as the formula of our life. When Prabhupada says कि 3 घंटे बाद प्रसादम स्टेल हो जाता है, similarly, अगर Krishna consciousness, when Sandipani Muni and when Krishna and Sudama, when they were graduating from Sandipani Muni's ashram, what Vardhan Sandipani Muni gave to them? May this knowledge always remain fresh in your hearts. That is the result of blessing. When we serve great souls, what is blessing? Is spontaneous good wishes which come from the heart of a great soul. What is blessing? Blessing ऐसा नहीं कोई लाइट नहीं निकलता है. प्रभु जी गुरु महाराज please bless me. ऐसा नहीं होता blessing. क्या होता है blessing? Is spontaneous good wishes from the heart of a great soul. और वो heart great soul में कौन है अंदर वहां? Not in a passive way. There Krishna is in a very active way. Immediately magic हो जाता है. Immediately magic हो जाएगा. होना ही है. When we are genuinely trying to please a great soul. And when that happens, what happens? The knowledge remains fresh in our heart. हम जो भी रीडिंग हियरिंग कर रहे हैं, सही समय पर सही चीज याद आएगा हमको. नहीं तो करना का जैसा हो जाएगा. करना के पास पूरा नॉलेज था, लेकिन उसको श्राप क्या दिया उसके खुद के गुरु ने, परशुराम ने. What was the curse he got? When the right time comes, you will forget this knowledge. I mean, when the most needed time comes, when the critical time comes. So you see, हमको ज्ञान बहुत हो सकता है, पर सही समय पर सही चीज याद आ रही है क्या? वो किससे होगा? ब्लेसिंग से. Blessings कब होगा? When we are trying to sincerely serve great souls. I don't want to do any more Maryada Atikram. I want to please beg forgiveness from everybody. I have spoken a lot more than my adhikar today, but the only reason I did that was because the topic was flowing, and I want to seek everybody's prayers and blessings, to pray for my protection, and to pray that whatever I have spoken, I am trying to able to apply in my life, and ultimately each one of us have to help each other. Bhakti Tirth Maharaj made that nice statement, which many devotees put in their signature also. What is that? At the end of the day, it is each one of us, something like that. So alone we are all fallible. We have no power. Together when we come, we can revise these things. We can discuss. We can do nice service together. We can do nice. So many things can be done together. And now that this temple is coming, every time Prabhuji meets me, he tells me, अभी बना दिया है, अभी मैं तो क्या है, मैं कब जाऊंगा कब नहीं जाऊंगा मालूम नहीं, अभी आप लोग करो, आप लोग देखो, so that's a clarion loud call for each one of us to become such amazing Vaishnavas, to develop such a wonderful culture of togetherness, and to demonstrate to the whole world loud and clear that this is spiritual world. This is what it is. By our actions, by at least whenever we are coming here, we should just leave all our reservations aside, wholeheartedly serve, meet each other, know each other. Forget North Indian, South Indian, English, Hindi, Bengali, Kannada. All of us know each other language. And we can talk to हम आए चले गए एक दो दूसरे डिवोटी से बात नहीं किए, केवल मेरा जो 2 दोस्त है उससे ग्रुप बन जाएगा. This groupism is a nonsense thing. These companies and all are trying to put all these practices for their growth. जो भी anybody who is working in very standard corporate world, you will know what all team building activity, what all things they keep telling again and again, right? At least, and they are doing it superficially and for those goals. At least we all can try to do genuinely. हम बहुत बार होता है टेंपल आते चले जाते हैं, बस हम जो एक व्यक्ति को जानते थे उसी के साथ प्रसादम में बैठते हैं और उठ के चले जाते हैं. क्या एसोसिएशन? वेयर एसोसिएशन? व्हाई डिड वी कम टू टेंपल? Whichever who is your friend, उसके साथ मत बैठिए, उसके साथ तो आप फोन में बात कर लेंगे, किसी दूसरे के साथ बैठिए. Talk to each other. Know how they are practicing spiritual life, what they are trying to do. What are the struggles? Guhyam akhyati prachati. Seniors, we have to take instructions, we have to learn something, we have to ask questions. Juniors को we have to inspire, and those who are equals we have to share. प्रभु जी ऐसा हो रहा है, आप कैसे करते हो, आप कैसे भागवतम पढ़ने का टाइम निकाल पाते हो? वो बोलेगा मैं तो निकाल ही नहीं पा रहा हूं, लेकिन जो भी एक बार 1 मिनट पढ़ पाता हूं उसको ऐसा जी जान से पढ़ता हूं, वहां से कुछ सीख लिए. None of us have to make a show. If you ask me how much I am reading Bhagavatam, I'll say last 2 weeks I have not been able to read. Reality है, क्या कर सकते हैं? I have already said, नालायक हैं हम सब. कहाँ टाइम मिलेगा? अरे बच्चा लोग को भी देखना है, ये भी करना है, जॉब भी है, वो भी खून चूसेगा, उधर भी ये सब हजार, क्या करेगा आदमी? गलत बोल रहा हूँ क्या? एनी गृहस्था प्लीज टेल मी, गलत बोल रहा हूँ क्या? और बेचारा सुबह नहीं उठा तो गया, कब चैंटिंग करेगा? बाकी तो दिखावा है दिन भर. Tell me how many of you will agree with me? If we don't chant our 16 rounds in the morning in 2 hours, then it takes 24 hours. जो यूथ है जिसको जॉब नहीं है उसका भी वही हाल, जो माता जी है उसका भी वही हाल, जो प्रभु जी उसके, तो हो क्या रहा है इधर? So मार्जिन ऑफ एरर कितना कम है, इसका मतलब जब मिले तो ब्लॉटिंग पेपर जैसा ले लेने का, वही अपना गाड़ी चलाएगा. These people are fortunate, they have been able to take that decision. But उसमें भी just being in ashram does not mean anything. Nobody can be complacent, right? So ऐसा ही है, स्ट्रगल कर करके. बट वन थिंग इज नाइस, मटेरियल लाइफ में भी स्ट्रगल है, स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में भी स्ट्रगल है, लेकिन मटेरियल लाइफ के एंड में क्या गारंटीड है? फेलियर. स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ के सक्सेस का और स्ट्रगल के बाद क्या गारंटीड है? सक्सेस. इसमें डाउट नहीं होना चाहिए, नहीं तो यू आर डाउटिंग प्रभुपाद, यू आर डाउटिंग कृष्णा, यू आर डाउटिंग गुरु. मतलब हमको फेथ ही नहीं तो अभी क्या करे, तब तो जो हो जाए बहुत है, देन तो जो भी हो गया बहुत है. लेकिन अगर सच में ये कन्विक्शन हो गया है, देन जो हो गया वो कम है. We'll always feel that whatever I'm doing is less. We'll always be dissatisfied with our spiritual life. I think we should end now. I'm so sorry. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we'll take it personally. So, just like as Prabhuji was telling that the accidents keep happening, so that the way to prevent the accident is that's why the government also puts at many places the signboard, so that beware, this is the accident prone area, or the be careful. So Vyasacharya Prabhu is trying to give us try to be alert, so that there will be no more accidents in the spiritual life. Let us express our gratitude to His guest Vyasacharya Prabhu by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Also, today's prasadam is partly sponsored by Vishnupriya Mataji. She is seeking the prayers for her 2 children. So let us pray to their lordships that may they shower their choicest blessings on these 2 wonderful children as well as the whole family. Let us chant Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Now we'll have Jagannatha Ashtakam and followed by the prasadam. Hare Krishna. Just a minute. One small announcement regarding the yatra. Hare Krishna. Coming this month, February 19th and 20th, from the temple Yatra team, the Yatra is arranged to Srirangapatnam and Melukote. So the poster will be put up, and mostly all the devotees might have got in the WhatsApp also. So devotees can take advantage of this Yatra to go to the holy place of Lord Ranganath, as well as the Chelunarayana Swami and the Yoga Narsimha. So, okay, in the same, during these 2 days, there'll be a visit to Tondanur also. There is a beautiful lake as well as big statue of Ramanujacharya. And also there is one temple where when Ramanujacharya had come personally 1000 years before, around 1100 years before, or something like that. That time he had brought a bamboo basket in which his cloth was there. That the same basket is still preserved. So it's a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of going to these holy places. Please note and kindly register yourself as well as whoever your near and dear ones. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, devotees, for just joining the class today. Tomorrow we'll be having, starting from 8 o'clock. Please join us for Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya tomorrow. Otherwise, Hare Krishna. I'll just end the session now. Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadramaya Sudarshan ki jai, Gaura Nitai ki jai, Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'll end the session now.